The White House assessment on Pakistan militants. The Obama administration has given Congress a harshly critical assessment of Pakistan's efforts to defeat Al-Qaeda and other militants, saying that after years of work with the Pakistani military, there remains no clear path toward defeating the insurgency that thrives in the country. That conclusion, buried in a 38-page report on the state of the war in Afghanistan and the efforts to defeat Al-Qaeda in Pakistan, comes just 3 months before President Obama is scheduled to announce the pace at which American troops will be withdrawn from Afghanistan. It amounts to a concession that the effort to match Mr. Obama's surge of troops in Afghanistan with a new strategy to squeeze the Taliban and the militants from the Pakistani side of the border has yielded virtually no results. For more than a year, American officials have expressed frustration with the slow pace of the Pakistani effort, which was further complicated by the devastating floods there last summer, but rarely have they gone public with the scope of those frustrations. The report did not come with any public statement by Mr. Obama, who, like President B.U.S.H. before him, has been loath to publicly criticize the efforts of Pakistan. But the report states clearly what many administration and Pentagon officials have long said in private. Without pressure from the Pakistani side of the border, it is virtually impossible to wipe out the strongholds of Taliban or Al-Qaeda except through American-led predator strikes from the air. The report noted that an effort by the Pakistani military to clear militants from Momand, a part of the tribal areas in northwest Pakistan, was failing for the third time in 2 years. The failure was a clear indicator of the inability of the Pakistan military and government to render cleared areas resistant to insurgency return, the report said. The country cannot keep its helicopters flying, the report said, and is reluctant to accept U.S.-provided helicopter maintenance teams, part of a broader concern about letting American troops operate openly on the ground in Pakistan. In other words, the war is not really being won. What remains vexing is the lack of any indication of hold and build planning or staging efforts to complement ongoing clearing operations, the report concluded. As such, there remains no clear path toward defeating the insurgency in Pakistan, despite the unprecedented and sustained deployment of over 147,000 forces and the deaths of 2,575 Pakistani troops since 2001. The report also lamented the fact that 4 coordination centers operated by American, Pakistani, and Afghan troops are up and running on the Afghan side of the border, but none are yet operating on the Pakistan side, despite a pledge in 2009 from Pakistan to do so. Independent experts on Pakistan, as well as congressional aides, said the report's assessment was more critical of Pakistan's counterinsurgency abilities than analysis in 2 earlier reports, which the administration sends to Congress every 6 months. It's pretty tough, said one Senate staff member who read the report. It does sound like an expression of frustration that goes beyond previous reports. In the past, the administration has praised the Pakistani efforts to carry out offensive operations against Taliban and other insurgents in 6 of the 7 tribal areas, all except North Waziristan, but has chided the civilian government and military high command to do more. In a report to Congress last September, the last before this week's, the administration essentially gave Pakistan's counter-terrorism operations a pass, citing the efforts of the floods that crippled much of the country. The disaster diverted Pakistani troops from conducting counter-terrorism operations near the Afghan border to delivering flood relief for several months. The September report sought to find a silver lining in the cataclysm, noting that the military's rescue and relief efforts have positive effects on vesting the population with the national government, especially when those impacted citizens are in areas but also facing threats from insurgents. An administration official on Tuesday acknowledged the critical appraisal of Pakistan's efforts to combat its militancy, an effort the United States pays more than $1 billion a year to support, but the official cautioned that the American assessment was a snapshot in time. This particular snapshot wraps up challenges that we've talked about piecemeal over several months, said the administration official, who was not authorized to speak on the record about the report. In this case, we didn't see a clear path toward defeating the insurgency in Pakistan, but the official emphasized that the critique was not a forecast of worse to come, although it could be. He pointed out, for example, that the report also noted that Pakistan's troops in the northwestern and southwestern parts of the country were cooperating more closely with Afghan and NATO troops on the other side of the border in Afghanistan. The report also painted a grim portrait of the country's financial well-being. As a result of political gridlock, the government continues to be unable to develop consensus on difficult economic and fiscal reforms that are urgently required, including systemic tax reform, the report concluded. What steps the government of President Zardari has taken are not likely to be enough to win the confidence of international donors and the International Monetary Fund, which have been urging wide-ranging changes to shore up the faltering economy. The deterioration of Pakistan's economy and slow progress on economic reforms poses the greatest threat to Pakistan's stability over the medium term, the report said. So, in conclusion, how can you win a war this way? And this too is another sign of the times, the end times, transition days, which is a continuing day-by-day process of extraordinary changes, events, and happenings. Revelation chapter 5. And I saw in the right hand of him that sat on the throne a book written within and on the backside, sealed with 7 seals. 2. And I saw a strong angel proclaiming with a loud voice, Who is worthy to open the book and to loose the seals thereof? 3. And no human in heaven, nor in earth, neither under the earth, was able to open the book, neither to look thereon. 4. And I wept much, because no human was found worthy to open and to read the book, neither to look thereon. 5. And one of the elders said unto me, Weep not, behold, the Lion of the tribe of Judah, the root of David, has prevailed to open the book and to loose the 7 seals thereof. 6. And I beheld, and lo, in the midst of the throne and of the 4 beasts, and in the midst of the elders, stood a lamb as it had been slain, having 7 horns and 7 eyes, which are the 7 spirits of God sent forth into all the earth. 7. And he came and took the book out of the right hand of him that sat upon the throne. 8. And when he had taken the book, the 4 beasts and 24 elders fell down before the Lamb, having every one of them harps and golden vials full of odors, which are the prayers of saints. 9. And they sung a new song, saying, Thou art worthy to take the book and to open the seals thereof, for thou wast slain, and hast redeemed us to God by thy blood out of every kindred, and language, and people, and nation. 10. And hast made us unto our God kings and priests, and we shall reign on the earth. 11. And I beheld, and I heard the voice of many angels around about the throne, and the beasts and the elders, and the number of them was 10,000 times 10,000, and thousands of thousands. 12. Saying with a loud voice, Worthy is the Lamb that was slain to receive power and riches and wisdom and strength and honor and glory and blessing. 13. And every creature which is in heaven and on the earth and under the earth, and such as are in the sea, and all that are in them, heard I saying, Blessing and honor and glory and power be unto him that sits upon the throne, and unto the Lamb forever and ever. 14. And the 4 beasts said, Amen. And the 4 and 20 elders fell down and worshipped him that lives forever and ever. It's time for all prophecy to be fulfilled. Everything is connected, and everything is numbered.